Welcome to the Lesbian Romantic Podcast. This is Waking Up is Easy, Part 29. Review by Bumblebee 323. 1 out of 5 stars. I've been telling my friends they're crazy to trust you. Now, you have proven my point for me. Bringing Ellie Harkin on, it shows exactly who you are. A traitor to other women. You cannot normalize these people. They're evil. Now you have shown your evilness to the world as well. Again, no surprise to me. My friends should have listened to me. I hope you go to hell very soon. I don't understand why Usha wants to stay near you. I guess she's a fake too. Review by Happy and Free Forever. 1 out of 5 stars.
Seriously? Why would you give a platform to this bitch, Ellie Harkin, who should have never, ever been allowed near a microphone again? It was bad enough already in previous episodes, but this? Unsubscribe.
Review by Love Rules 69. 1 out of 5 stars. This is what always happens when people get too much attention. They become buddies with other people in the streaming media, even when these people are just awful and destroyed lives. Awful attracts awful, I guess. Kate, you're awful. I will never forgive you for this. I hope Usha dumps you. I can't imagine her being in the loop on this. URL bestfanfic.red. Title: Ellie shows Kate who's boss. Average rating: 3.2 out of 5 stars. Page 1 out of 2. Voice: Best AI. Tags, categories: Hardcore, Ellie, Catherine, not safe for work. Ellie's grin was feral as she looked down at Catherine, who was tied up to the bed. The cuffs cut into her skin, making her wince with every move. "Don't pretend you don't like this," Ellie hissed and stepped onto the bed, towering over Catherine. "I know you've been waiting for me to make you feel my power over you." Tonight, another exclusive interview on our show. I'd like to welcome Heather, who has been on our show in the past, but has plenty more to say now. Welcome back, Heather. Thank you, Alex. I'm grateful for the invitation. Of course. We're always excited to have you on. Okay, let's dive right into it. I assume these last few days have not been easy. Not at all, Alex. It's been tough. What was your first response when you heard the episode? I always have to sort of brace myself before I can listen to the next episode. So I came prepared, but I was still shocked and very disappointed. Let's start with the shock. Sure. I was just shocked that she would give Ellie this platform. I was already stunned that she even mentioned being friends with her before. But this was next level insane. What did it feel like for you? That's where the disappointment comes in, you know? I still haven't been able to speak to Catherine after she left me behind. Still no word from her? No. Still no word other than the short letter. And for the people watching who haven't heard about the letter, she sent me a letter right before she started the podcast, apologizing for her disappearance and saying she had behaved in an unprofessional way. And you? I was just happy that she was alive at first. I cared about her. But then the podcast started, and I don't know. It all felt very opportunistic to me all of a sudden. So I reached out to her, asking if we could have a proper conversation about it all, you know? In a way, she really added to my trauma. I have not been able to trust anyone since. She left me behind with all this unprocessed stuff, and I do feel like she owes me a real conversation. She owes me a face-to-face explanation after all that there was between us. Right, of course. And then this latest episode comes out and, in a way, she gives Ellie the type of conversation and attention I deserve, while Ellie clearly does not deserve any of it. At least, that is my point of view, you know? I think that is what most people would think, Heather. It seems so. I got lots of messages on social media about it. That made me realize I have a right to speak out, you know? I have a right to be angry about this. I have a right to tell the world who Catherine Halifax really is. It seems most people have finally realized what she's like now, but just so you know, it is even worse than you think. My current therapist agrees that things went way too far between us. From Cassidy Benton. To Mary@simonsilence.com. Subject: New Wind. Hi, Mary. Thanks for your feedback on the first rewrites of my book. I had to take some time in my writing cocoon to let it sink in, so I am a little late with my reply. I think I have hit a new stride. The intense response to Catherine's choice to have Ellie Harkin on her show has brought me new insights that I think are very valuable for the updated version of the book. It is remarkable that Catherine is at the center of yet another storm. In a way, her starting this podcast was a response to a storm she had not created. But this choice of bringing Ellie on, that is a storm by choice. And so perhaps, for the first time, she deserves to be judged by others. As in, perhaps for the first time, she chooses to be a public figure, and so consents to others judging her words and actions. The same goes for Usha, who has chosen to come onto the podcast. I feel like this realization might be behind the barrel's loose rush to condemn her by the public. The people who have had to defend her because she was a victim finally have the permission to look further than her victimhood and can now speak freely. Again, the same goes for Usha. I think this opens up quite a few avenues for the book. Maybe the rewrite needs a few new chapters about Catherine, or perhaps even some reflections on why we, as the public, are free to share our thoughts about the behavior of others when they are public figures by choice. I'm still working on the core argument, but wanted to share. We'll send you more soon. Cassidy. Review by Proof in the Pudding. 1 out of 5 stars. You know, when you publish a podcast, we get to have our say about it. And boy, do I have things to say about you. I mean, not only are you incredibly arrogant, you also just forced us to listen to the bullshit of a criminal who ruined many lives. You should have done us all a favor and kept hidden in that apartment forever. Now we have to do the work to live with all the harm you caused us. URL: thewordofusha.com. Title: Let's Embrace the First Era Teachings. Dear lovers of wisdom and insight, recent events have shaken our community, causing friends and family to argue profoundly. Some of you have canceled your attendance for the upcoming retreat, fearing it would be too stressful and confrontational. I'd like to address some of these fears and issues so that you can feel safe to join us. As you know from our ebook and webinar, we will now separate Usha's teachings and words into two eras. The era of her early and true teachings, and her words and teachings after stepping back into regular life as the second era. We regard the first era as dictated by the divine, and the second era as Usha's human interpretation of the first. This means we can and should distance ourselves from Usha's second era words and choices when they do not align with the first era teachings according to our own lived experience. Her choice to be in a relationship with Catherine Halifax does not tell us anything about the choices we should make in our own lives. We do not have to reject first era teachings because of Usha's second era behavior. I want to invite you to let this sink in before deciding on your attendance of the retreat. Let's keep embracing these wonderful first-era teachings and continue to benefit from them through our shared experience and expression of our insights and values. With first-era love, eternal hope. Review by Spice Girls Oldie. 2 out of 5 stars. I love listening to Usha. I really admire her. But Catherine needs to stop putting herself in the spotlight. Her story adds absolutely nothing. I mean, who do you think you are, Catherine? And Ellie, who do you think you are? I'll never understand what Usha sees in Catherine, but I guess nobody is perfect. 2. Cassidy Benton. From Mary at simonsilence.com. Subject: New Wind. Hi, Cassidy. Thanks for getting back to me. If you want to talk more about the feedback I sent you, please don't hesitate to contact my assistant and book another meeting. I know this is a new way of working for you and that my predecessor had a different approach, but I promise you that I only want the best for the book. In regards to your thoughts on Catherine's current media storm, I suggest we tread carefully. While I understand your sense of urgency to include these new developments in the updated book, I do think we need to answer a few questions first. I wonder if we should explore our own arc, so to speak, or perhaps your arc as an author. In this rewritten version of the book, perhaps we should focus more on your role in the story rather than expand our chapters on Catherine. In a way, your first book was part of the public judgment Catherine and Usha endured. I know you wrote carefully and skillfully, but many of the things you reported at the time turned out to be inaccurate, putting our publishing house in a tough spot right now. We're lucky Catherine Halifax is not intent on legal action. For now. So I would like to challenge you and ask you, how have you judged? What role has that judgment played in the stories around Catherine and Usha? How has your book contributed to the lives they now, at least in part, are forced to lead? What have you learned from hearing Catherine's side of the story? What would you do differently this time around? This interests me far more than the current online backlash around Catherine's choice to invite Ellie on her podcast. I'd like to wait and see how that plays out. Get in touch with my assistant. She's in CC, and we can talk more about it. I look forward to it. Mary. Review by Veggie Dog Champion 2024. 3 out of 5 stars. Look, I'm disappointed in Catherine too. But maybe this is all getting a bit out of hand. You don't have to listen to the podcast if you hate it. I mean, we all make mistakes in judgment at times. So who are we to judge her so harshly? 3 out of 5 stars because the music really sucks in the last few episodes.
Catherine, John here. I'll be your direct point of contact from now on. We had to let go of some people around here due to quality issues. Look, I gotta say, I was not happy with you, and that is putting it lightly. But it is clear I underestimated you, Miss Halifax. Or is it... I don't even know what Usha's last name is. Probably something I can't pronounce. But yeah, I underestimated you. Bringing Ellie on your show? Brilliant. That was a bold, ballsy move. You sure know how to get your audience all riled up. People love to hate. Before this, you were like Antifa. But this is different. You just opened up a whole new market. Some of Ellie's old advertisers are super interested. Again, I didn't think you had it in you, Katie. Call me back, okay? We can make a lot of money together. Don't let this backlash scare you. This is a great opportunity. Now is the time to double down. Stop hiding. Call me.
Title: The Uncomfortable Truth Behind Our Rage. I have written about Catherine Halifax a few times. I enjoy her podcast, and I find her story insightful. If you don't enjoy it, that is fine. You don't have to listen to it. But the latest backlash, it makes me feel like I don't understand the world I live in anymore. I don't know who we are anymore. Or perhaps I do. And I am horrified by it. Hasn't this gone way too far already? Hasn't this destroyed enough lives? Why do we need to inflict more harm? I mean, someone already died. Do you want more people dead? This was part 29 of Waking Up is Easy. This podcast is listener-funded only. If you, too, want to help keep this podcast going and keep it available for people all around the world, please consider supporting the show today. Go to patreon.com/lesbianromantic if you are up for a monthly subscription and get some perks in return. Or if you want to give back, no perks needed, go to lesbianromantic.com/support. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for spending time with me. It's always a privilege. And I will see you again soon, hopefully in 2 weeks, on this free feed. Bye.